Hello? Excuse me. Hello? This is streaming for Thumbs United, but this is photography and editing for Footations. So this is the image we have. And this is in a small city in Italy. It's called Fiesole, and it's in the mountains above, looking down on Florence. So it's nice. It's a short bus ride from Florence to this town. And yeah, let's get started. So I worked on it a little bit. I was testing out. I made some changes to my PC, so hopefully it doesn't start lagging. Hopefully it doesn't start lagging like it was last time. Screen mode. Okay, here we go. So I went into the motherboard, and there was this issue I was having with this PC a while ago, about a year ago. And so one of the solutions was to actually clock down the processor, and I did it just because for whatever reason it would just like shut down. Like immediately there'd be like this loud pop, and then it would just shut down. And what it turned out to be was the power supply was dying. So every time the CPU went into like overdrive, it would try to draw more power pretty quickly from the power supply, and the power supply couldn't handle it. So while I was waiting to get a new power supply, I kind of turned down the processor. So I turned off the speed boost. It goes from 3.6 gigahertz to like 4.2. So I turned that off. So, and then I tuned it down a little bit. So it would constantly stay at 3 gigahertz. And so it wasn't that bad. But since I got a new power supply, I'm testing it. I'm seeing if it can handle kind of the regular mode, the default mode, which is running at 3.6 gigahertz and then boosting up to 4.2 gigahertz. Hopefully it works out well. So I'm kind of nervous. I did some testing last night, like I said, but I really needed to do the live streaming to see if the Photoshop issues came back. And so that's what I'm doing today. So this is like half a test, half getting work done. And like I was doing this morning, I only worked on a small corner of this image. And I was like, well, I might as well stream it. So that way, if I fail, or the computer fails, I can do it publicly, which is always nice. Not. I was like so tired yesterday. We're having construction done on my house, and I had to wake up at like 7 and to move the lawnmower so they could access that part of our house. And I tried to go back to sleep, but I couldn't. And so you might be saying like, oh, 7's not that early. And you're right, it's not. But the day before, I was in New York and I had to wake up at 2:30 and then left the hotel drove to the airport, went through security and everything, and then 2:30 in the morning, and then got home. It was ridiculous. Got home at like 8. Like, that's how early the flight was, that we landed at 8 in the morning. And so then I did a lot of work, and so I really haven't recovered yet from that waking up at 2 a.m. They say that once you lose the sleep, you can never get it back, but I'm still pretty tired. But I am in a better mood today. And the first time I streamed, I think it was Wednesday, coming back, I was like so tired, and I was like really nervous for some reason. It's like I forgot how to stream. I was like getting nervous in front of the microphone and everything. And if you go back and watch it, my talking is kind of stuttering and not what it is usually. But today should be better. I woke up and I was like, you know what, I feel like I'm getting a lot of stuff done. And yesterday, I didn't finish 2 programs for my programming class. I finished 1. And it was really nice. I forgot what it was like to have a teacher that like really is really kind of like hands-on. So even though it's an online class and I never interact with the teacher, I mean, he gives us links to all these videos on how to do everything, but then he also has a video he created himself of writing the in-class program. So that's usually what he does, is he writes one program in class and tells us, how he's doing it and why he's doing it that way. And then the homework is very similar to what we learned in class. So for the past 2 weeks before the class started, I was getting nervous. I got to write out these programs from scratch. It's in a language I never programmed in, C#, and I'm essentially having to learn advanced C# at the same time I'm learning it to start with. And I was like, C# is easy. It is just, I don't even know why they call it C. It's essentially, it's a little bit like Visual Basic on steroids, but it was just, like, if you know Visual Basic, you know like 60% of C#. And the fact that I know C++, that helps, because a lot of stuff overlaps. But still, I don't know what I was worried about. And that's what I do a lot, is I get anxious about everything. And then when it's actually time to do it, it's always 1,000 times easier than everything I was imagining. And I'm a very creative person, so I can imagine some bad things, and it's always easier. And now I tell myself, you're just worrying for no reason. It's going to be easier, and all this stuff you're coming up with, and it always is. And so the homework, I had my homework open, and what was getting graded for this project, and then I was watching the in-class video, and I was just writing my program alongside his program and making changes so that it fit the homework, kind of as he was doing it. So that part was good. So it took about 40 minutes to write out the program. But then there was this one, section that we needed to get graded on. It was like this one task we had to do. and we had to have a timer. So like if the user entered a wrong password, then it would show, you know, oh, your password was too short, or oh, your you don't have enough characters. And then we also had to make it so that it only accepted one password. And so there were 3 options where the user could fail, and depending on which one, it had to show an alert, but the alert had to disappear after 2 or 5 seconds. It just had to disappear on its own. And so what I did was, I didn't realize that. So when I first wrote the program, I made it so that there was a pop-up and said, you know, error, you entered the wrong password. But then I went back and read the instructions, and it was like, that's not what they wanted. They didn't want the pop-up, which is good, because I was looking up how to make a pop-up automatically disappear in like 2 or 5 seconds, and it was so complicated. And essentially there's no way to do it like natively. You have how to do it natively with a message box. That's what it's called. You have to do it with a special pop-up and a Visual Basic script and everything, which wasn't what the teacher was asking for. It's saved quickly. So there's a lot of work that has to be done on this image. But anyway, so I wanted to get it all done at once, but then there was some errands my mom wanted to run, and I was like, I'm just going for the ride, because I needed to clear my head. And so the program was 90% done, and then it was just that one part of making the message disappear. So I went driving, and then I kind of figured out what I was going to do, and it worked. Essentially, I had to do not a pop-up or anything like that, but I had to have text in the program show up. And so the way I did it, which was the way the teacher wanted it to be done, but it wasn't quite clear the way in the example he showed it. And so there was a timer that goes off every you can set the timer to whatever you want while you're programming it, but the end user doesn't know what the timer is. And so pretty much every 5 seconds it checks to see if the user entered a password, if it's the wrong password or if it's the right one, which is kind of, it's like, I don't know, it's almost like a waste of resources. I would have liked to have it check, when the user presses login, but instead it just checks every 5 seconds. And so then when the user enters the password, and then it checks and says, oh, it's the right password, then it shows nothing. But if it's the wrong password, it shows like error, wrong password. And but it does it in 5-second intervals. So if you press it on like second 1, you have to wait 4 seconds for the message to pop up, because it only checks it on the 5th second. And so then it shows up for 5 seconds and then it automatically turns off. So it's done, and then I have some work I'm going to do today outside. I'm going to be weed whacking. There's like a lot. This gray is really hard to work with the cursor because it blends in very well. I'm looking for dust. Looking for dust. I don't see a lot of it. So it looks like the bottom half of this image is really clean. I thought it'd be taking longer. So, I mean, it looks like Photoshop is working pretty well with the changes. I pretty much unlocked my processor and put it back to the regular performance. But the real question is if it will work well when I open the second file. Okay, and I'm going to open the second one. I'm going to find it. Okay, here we go. And so this is actually looking down into Florence. That's the city down below, and you can see how we're up high in the mountain. It's not that big of a mountain, but there's a lot of dust. So, start at the top and work my way down. I was talking yesterday how I was looking to get more film. Originally, I was just going to get some more medium format film. The camera I use is the Hasselblad 500C. And that camera was built in, it's like 1969. But what's nice about it is it's all mechanical. And doesn't require any batteries or anything to operate, but it is a very, very manual camera. You pretty much have to know your exposures and how to light not light, but how to judge lighting and figure out the brightness yourself. And so I've gotten good at that, but sometimes what I do is when I'm like, if I'm shooting people, what I do is I'll bring along my Canon, and then I'll have it set to similar settings, and I'll do like one test image with the Canon to make sure my exposure is right, and then with the medium format I make the exposure similar, so I change the f-stop to like the same the Canon was set to, and the shutter speed and everything. I'm gonna change this music. Okay. Oh, and so I was saying about the film. I was originally gonna buy just 35mm, medium format film, but then I decided to kind of put in my shopping cart some 35mm, just because it's so much. You pretty much get more photographs for 35mm, because like each roll costs like $6, but you get to take 36 photos with medium format. With 35mm, and medium format costs the same, but you only get to take 12. So I don't know. I'm gonna be experimenting with that. There's this new project I want to start, and I really want to do everything for this project in black and white and with film, but we'll see. Yeah, there's a lot of dust on this image, and the dust really shows up with this bright white. It's not quite fog. Well, it's not quite clouds. It's actually really foggy during the time I went to Florence. for other projects, kind of projects I do publicly, I have to like, well, one, I want to build this contraption, and I want to build a steady cam out of, well, a glide cam out of PVC. I just haven't had time, and so probably over the weekend I'm gonna make sure I have all the materials for it, because I have a ton of extra PVC, and that's what I use PVC for, is like building camera mounts or other things like that, because it's so inexpensive. But the funny thing about PVC is the tubing is really inexpensive. Like you can get 8 feet for like $3. The expensive part of PVC is actually getting the connectors, because one connector costs like $3, and then you need like 30 of them, so it adds up fast. But I'm going to kind of cannibalize some of my older camera mounts, and then hopefully build this steady cam. The glide cam. There were a couple of videos online showing how to do it, kind of DIY, and they were interesting, but I'm going to try kind of my own design. And one of the things, it's just going to be for holding like really small cameras, not a DSLR, but it's going to be for like holding a GoPro or slightly larger, but nothing like a DSLR, just light cameras. And so I'm hoping that I can build it small enough that I will be able to fit it on one of my PVC shoulder mounts, and hopefully that works out well. And so the reason why I want it for the shoulder mount is because if I just built it like a regular glide cam, and like I've used them before, but your arm gets really tired of trying to hold it up kind of straight and balancing it. So I'm hoping that if I add it to the shoulder mount, which is like this rig that goes on your shoulder and it has a weight on the back, and then it extends forward, and the weight on the back balances the camera on the front. And so you're not actually holding it up, you're just standing, and then with your hands you're able to kind of guide the camera where you want it to go, and it adds more stabilization, and you can do like walking shots and everything. But so the shoulder mount will automatically make it more stable, and then I'm hoping the DIY glide cam will it adds kind of like a floatiness, because it's always trying to stay level with the ground thanks to gravity. And so hopefully that works out well. It should, in theory. Oh, and so I'm gonna try to work out a schedule, not for streaming, but for other work. But I went and I checked for my class, and there's 9 programs I have to write, including the final project and which is the final program. And so what I'm going to try to do is write 1 program a day, Monday through Friday. And then I'm sorry, I blanked. And then on the weekend I'm planning to like get out of the house and go to a park and take pictures for Project Park. So part of it is, I'm still working, but the other part is I want to kind of have a dedicated time to take my grandmother out of the house too. She goes on all the errands and stuff with us throughout the week, so she's getting out then. But she really enjoys going to the park. So I have to look up, because I had a car. When I did in Michigan, you can pay like an extra, it's either like an extra 100 or extra 70, and then you get this sticker that goes on your license plate, and it's a park pass. So all the state parks and some of the city parks you get in that you would normally have to pay, it's included in the park pass, so you can just drive on through. So that was really nice, but I have to look into getting one because I don't have a car right now. I use the family car, and so I have to look to see if you can just get that pass without it tied to like registration or something. But I'm pretty sure you can do it. I've seen it somewhere, I just haven't looked it up yet. So I'm planning to going to more parks and shooting more photos and doing more series similar to the Sleeping Spring project, where it's a combination of photography and video and photographic animation. And I want them to be long, like around an hour and 10 minutes to an hour and a half. Oh, and the funny thing was, waking up this morning, I was so tired. Like I said, I haven't really recovered from traveling yet, but I went to bed last night at like 9:30. Like, I was struggling to stay awake. There was a couple of streamers I was watching, and it was embarrassing because I was like falling asleep as I watched them, and I was like, oh. And it was only like 7, and I was like, I can't go to bed at 7, and then finally it was 9, and I was like, okay, that's kind of an acceptable time to go to bed. And then I was like, I'll stay up a little longer. I tried to stay up to 10, but I failed, and so I went to bed at 9:30, and it was I slept really deeply, and then I woke up because I was like, I have to go do something. But I ended up not having to do it. So that was at like 7 in the morning. So I tried to go back to sleep, and then when I finally did wake up to get out of bed, it was horrible because I felt more tired than when I went to bed. It was just like, I felt slow and groggy, and I was like, I guess felt kind of like a zombie, but I did feel better. So that's kind of weird. But I was excited to start the day and start streaming. I would like to do this daily, but we'll see how it works out with my schedule. And then I was going to stream earlier, but I decided I had to eat breakfast. Because usually I don't get hungry in the morning, but this time I was. So I was like, I don't want to get, kind of the low blood sugar shakes. I call it getting noodly. And then just a reminder, the video game live streams are coming back, but they're coming back next week. They're going to be quasi live streams where it's going to be I'm going to be doing the voiceover live and on Twitch, but I already recorded the gameplay and everything ahead of time, so it's not quite a live stream. It's more of a let's play that is recorded live. And then afterwards I'm going to take the audio and combine it and everything, and then it will be showing up on YouTube and everything as the final project. It might come back to Twitch later. Like if the stream gets auto deleted, I might re-upload it. And then I'm also going to be for Patreon, and that's patreon.com/LCD_productions. I'm going to be releasing more behind the scenes videos, so more like video editing projects and animating projects. That's going to go to Patreon. Some of the videos are going to be exclusive for Patreon, and some will be a timed kind of timed exclusivity. But there's like the timed is like it's long. It's like 1 or 2 months, sometimes 3 months. So that's gearing up. It's hard to find the spots here because some of it is like actually part of the city. Okay, we're almost done. Halfway. And then after this, I'm going to take a short break. And I have to go drink something. I'm not sure if I want juice or water. But this one turned out to be kind of a bigger production. It needs a lot of work. Yeah, it's speeding up. Not a lot of blotches on this bottom half. It seemed to be just that one kind of was the top, and then that middle strip. There was a lot of stuff to fix. Okay, so this one's done. I'll show it to people. And this is the image. This is kind of up on the mountain looking into Florence. This is Florence down there, and then this is kind of the neighboring town. And this is the town I'm in. Taking the photo was Fazoli in Italy. Okay, I'm gonna take a break, and I'll be back soon. Okay, I'm back. I actually went and made some tea and needed a little bit of energy boost. I made some green tea. Okay. Oh, so this is in Rome. This is the Trevi Fountain. That's a night shot. So it was taken at night, and it's illuminated by all the lights they have there, which is a lot. That's why it might look a little, almost looks kind of like a negative, but it's the night photography. So let's start. And hopefully that tea will kick in. When I went to New York flying there, it was scary. I usually don't get scared in planes, but they were saying 30 minutes till we land, and we're flying along and we're going down, and then it comes to the part where they're opening the gear, the wheels to the plane, and it's like, okay, but it's doing this like, and I was like, oh god, and it did it for like 5 minutes, and I was like, please tell me that the landing gear is coming out, but it sounded like it was jammed, and I was like, oh no, are we gonna land with only half the gear open? And so that made me pretty nervous. And then there was something else. Oh, yeah, so anyway, so then we land, and nothing bad happens. But then once we get to the gate, again, the same noise. It's just, but this time it goes on for like 10 minutes, and they're not opening the door or anything. And I'm like, what is that? So there's definitely something wrong with the plane, and it was a little weird. And then when we were flying, one of the flaps was like, I don't know, it just looked like it was going crazy. It kept, I don't know. It didn't make sense because we were like cruising altitude and we weren't descending. But every once in a while, the wing would like start making this noise, and I was just like, oh no, I don't want to die like this. So that was like kind of creepy, and then there was a lot of turbulence, but it wasn't like it didn't last a long time, but it would just come out of nowhere. And of course we get the turbulence, when we're on approach to landing. It's like you start shaking wherever. It's like, oh no, are we gonna end up face planting into a building? That'd be terrible. And so that part was scary. And then there was, on the way coming home, I had such a big problem with my ears. It was just, when we took off and then getting to altitude, they plugged really hard. It was just like pop, and it's like, oh, and then everything was muffled. And then landing, once we started coming down, like one ear, it kind of depressurized quickly, but I couldn't get my other ear to kind of release the tension from the pressure, and it was just like, and so for like maybe 15 minutes as we're landing, I'm trying to get it to pop because I don't want it to do that, giant pop, which was kind of painful. And eventually it happened, but it was like two kind of medium-sized pops that were a little bit painful, but eventually it was okay. And there were a couple of kids on our plane, and the young ones were like screaming like, what's happening to my ears? When they weren't saying that, they were too young to talk. They were babies, and I was like, I feel the same way, kid. My ears hurt too. I know a lot of people don't like kids on the airplane, but I mean, I don't mind it personally. I think it's weirder when people make like a big scene like, oh, I can't believe kids are on the airplane. It's like, kids have to go places too. Would you rather, them not travel with their parents? But I mean, I find it kind of like inconsiderate and rude. It's just like, you probably traveled as a kid. There's probably somebody complaining about you. Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna retweet something. Okay. Instead, back to work. Back to work. So there's this one. This image has kind of a medium amount of work. that needs to be done. And we're getting close to being finished. Not really close, we're about halfway of being finished with all the images from Italy, all the medium format images. So this looks like it's gonna be the last image of the day. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. I should be doing another creative stream tomorrow on Saturday. I'm not sure if it's probably going to be in the morning. I seem to be doing better in the morning than streaming at night. By nighttime, I'm like tired. I have nothing to talk about. So I guess I'm more of a morning person, which kind of new. But there was a period where I stay up late, but I used to do most of my work early in the morning. When I was in high school, I had to wake up early to get to school. It's funny because I'd be so tired after school I wouldn't want to do anything. And so I'd wake up around 4 in the morning, sometimes 3:30, and so normally I'd have to wake up around 5, but I wake up at 4 or 3 so I could play some Halo on the PC. And this was Halo 1 Combat Evolved. And so then, I go to school and everything, happened normally. And then get home and go to sleep early. And then when I went to college, it was just like, I don't have to wake up that early. I can, stay up late and wake up late. Most of my classes were like at 1 or 2 p.m. So when I first went to college, my kind of work schedule and sleep schedule flipped. I would get a lot of my work done at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and I don't know, it wasn't quite healthy. I don't want to say I had like a soda problem, but that's kind of when I was introduced to caffeine, and I drink like a couple of monsters, not a day, just one monster, but it was like 2 or 3 monsters a week, and I was like, oh, I need energy, I need caffeine. I just felt like, I feel so much smarter and faster with coffee and caffeine, and and soda, which isn't the case. I mean, now I've learned that kind of being slow and in control is better than being kind of jittery and hypery, and it is a stimulant, and caffeine does makes you feel better and kind of pumped up, but a lot of it's kind of like a fake feeling. And so over the course of a couple of years, I've been, reducing how much caffeine I drink. I switched to espresso, which is technically less caffeine than what I was drinking before. I drink 2 large cups of coffee, and so now I drink one. It's a double shot of espresso, but it turns out to be in 1 cup, and I forgot what I was saying. Oh, it turns out to be in 1 cup instead of 2 large cups, and then you just notice I feel so much better. I feel less anxious, which is a big problem because I do have a lot of high anxiety about everything, and so reducing my caffeine intake and then 2, switching to like green tea, that helped a lot. Instead of drinking coffee twice a day, I just drink it in the morning to wake up, and then I go and drink the green tea throughout the day. But I try not to drink it after 6, and then it kind of keeps you up a little bit. It's not as bad as drinking like coffee after 5. But yeah, just reducing the caffeine. It's the opposite of what you think, because the stimulant of caffeine and everything, you're high energy, you're more motivated to do things and all that stuff. But there's kind of a lot of side effects that come with that kind of high energy. And so now I'm like more relaxed, and I just do things kind of more calmly, but also with like a clearer mind of what I'm doing. So yeah, it's slower, but it's more precise and more well thought out. There was this funny screensaver I had, and it's like one of those old-timey pop-up things, and it was like, I drink caffeine so I can do dumber things faster. And I kind of feel like that's what caffeine kind of does. And every once in a while I do kind of splurge. I drink like 2 cups of coffee a day, and then to stay up late, and that's like when I'm doing like having a video game party or something, and then I drink kind of more caffeine. But the next day I usually regret it, because I just feel so tired and groggy. And so after the stream, I'm going to start the vodcast / rerun. and it's going to be of kind of more produced content. So the Sleeping Spring series, it's all 4 of them. So the short video with micro photography, then the flotation, the photographic animation of different plant life in Flint, and then Kersley Park, and then the downtown Flint episode. And then there will be Project Newfoundland and the Life to Tape episodes. Oh, and kind of talking about the videos, I saw that YouTube had decided to change their subscription feed from being chronological to them using their AI in quotes to kind of figure out, what you want to watch. And that kind of sucks. I noticed that last week they changed something to their algorithm, because now it shows me a ton of things I don't want to watch. I mean, it's just like, it's incredible how wrong their recommendations are. And before, there'd be like 2 or 3 things where I'd actively go and click the link to tell it, I don't want to see this in my feed. And now it's just they do like these rows of suggested content. So now there's like 5 or 6 rows I have to go and say, I don't want to see this. And then it says, okay, we'll tune your recommendations. And then I come back to YouTube like 5 minutes later. It's the same stuff there. And it's just like, I don't want to see any of this. And it's getting ridiculous. And so I went to YouTube, kind of not logged in a private browser. And I don't know, it's kind of shady. I mean, when I went in the private browser, like all the things they were recommending were kind of like, they're like sleazy cut up videos. And it's just like clickbait, kind of, they're using women and everything to click on the video. It's just like, there's more than this on YouTube, but that's the stuff they want to show on their main page. It's just like, and so then I log back in, and they're starting to show like kind of the mainstream stuff they show to everyone else who's not logged in my feed. And it's just like, I'm not interested in any of this stuff. Like, I mainly use YouTube for like relaxation and guided meditation and stuff, and they're just, I don't know, they're just showing me stuff that it's kind of insulting. And so before, I didn't, I didn't really have to actively try to tune the recommendations, but now it's just like, stop. And so yeah, their recommendation engine is terrible, and then about 2 weeks ago it got even worse. And the only way for me to find like kind of the new things I wanted to watch was the subscription tab. And so if they're taking that away, that's horrible. And I'm already having a hard time finding kind of the relaxation YouTubers I like to watch. Because it's just, I see that they uploaded a video, and then I won't be ready to watch it, but then I'll go watch it. I'll be ready to watch it in like 2 weeks, and it's just like, oh, good luck finding it on YouTube. And so then I go and I look at, their channel. Like, I actually go to the channel or search for it or go into my subscriptions, and it's like there are 5 videos there that YouTube just didn't show me. And this is the part that kind of stupid. They switched it so that, you know, if there's a YouTuber you like, you put the notification bell on, and then it gives you the notification that they uploaded it. And so this YouTuber was somebody who I had the notification on, and for the last 4 videos they uploaded, it just didn't tell me. It was like, seriously? No notification, no email notification. It was just like, then why do you waste my time? And it very much goes in, cycles, because it's like, oh, you watched, this video from this one person. Let me give you 5 notifications and recommend their video. Their other videos. It's just like, that's okay, but there are other people I'm subscribed to. So I'm kind of worried with this social media. I think one of the reasons why they're going to this kind of curated model by their recommendation engine is because then they can put more things in that are like paid sponsorship, or you can pay to like increase your rating by buying sponsorship from Google and everything. But it's still like and so the word I was looking for is like going back to when I was talking about going to the private browser and looking on YouTube not logged in. It's like all this highly sexualized content and stuff. It's like, oh, you should watch this. And I was like, really? That's not what I wanted. And so then even when I do log in, it's really like provocative kind of sexualized images, and it's just like, one, I know none of this is in their video, it's just to be clickbait, but it's just like, why is it recommending it to me? Like it's recommending me channels and stuff that I'm not subscribed to, and it's just dreadful, because it's getting to the point where I'm like, I don't know if I should open up, YouTube in a public place. On the phone, it's okay. But if I'm like on my laptop or stuff, it's starting to look like a sketchy site. And a lot of problems over here. And I also want to be clear that these aren't these accounts I'm complaining about. They're not women creators or YouTubers. They're pretty much, guys trying to exploit images of, scantily clad women to get their views up and everything. I don't have a problem with, women YouTubers or anything. 90% of the people I subscribe to are female YouTubers. Some of my best friends are, female. But seriously though, it's like these videos are like, you won't believe the top 10 hottest whatever, and it's just like, stop. I don't click on things like that, and so it makes no sense. Getting a lot of dust over here. Get rid of it slowly. We're almost done. Again, this is the last image for the day. I'm starting a rerun / vodcast after this. And again, it's just going to be kind of edited photography and produced content. Produced meaning non-live. And things like that. Okay, so I'm happy to report. I think I fixed the problem with Photoshop. Looks like it's doing well. This whole stream was a test. Let's see if I fixed it. So we can have many more happy Photoshopping streams without worrying about issues. For now, fingers crossed. And yeah, so one last look. And this is the image of the Trevi Fountain in Rome. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in. I'll probably see you tomorrow. Hopefully it'll be an early stream, not too early, but like 11 or 10 in the morning. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Bye bye.